So, we were talking about all your life history and what happened during your childhood, college. We completed all that. Now, I want to know, there must be many people who must have, I won't say helped you exactly, but must have influenced you or your decisions in business, personal life, professional life, or music for that matter. Do you remember all of them?
Life is filled with challenges. After all, when we live in a society, there are hundreds of people with whom you rub on a day-to-day level. But some people leave that indelible mark in your life. And as you recapitulate, you realize that some people have made a significant change in your life. Let me start from my childhood. I distinctly remember my grandfather Ganesh Shastrigal, who subsequently I knew was a very illustrious person living in Trichy. When he came to Mumbai during I must have been possibly 3 or 4 years old, and he would carry me on his shoulders. And I still remember he will sing this famous Tamil folk song called Nandavanathilorandi, Nalari Kalamai, Kuyavanai Tundi, something like that. And then he'll keep, dancing like this in a swing. And then suddenly he'll drop me on a bed or something like that. And I immensely used to enjoy. That is possibly the first time I started, with that laughter, with the peals of laughter, smiling and enjoying life and all that. And then also your grandparents, I think, are kind of shock absorbers in your life. Yes. Whenever you have a stress, or your father scolded you, your mother scolded you, or teacher admonished what you did, and when you come home, the way they kind of hug you and the way they take you, I think the entire stress melts away. And my father and my grandfather and my grandmother were like that. They never bother about what's happening outside, what happened here, what happened there, what happened in the school. All that they realized was how to give affection and that pure compassion and love. My grandfather was a very tall, fair kind of a person, bald-headed. But he used to wear a turban, a white colored turban, and when he wears it and that typical tambram, panjakacham and kurta and an angavastram here, he was majestic. And I look at him, I always thought, oh, he's not my grandfather, he's some big man. So that is the kind of indelible mark that it left in my life. How to be very presentable in the society, how do you command respect just by entering a small place, people immediately stand up and receive you. So you do that with with an aura, with a charming personality. I must say that I learned a lot how to present yourself in the society, in the public, on the stage or what have you. The second, I must definitely say my father, there is no question, highly regimented, a disciplinarian, and always would expect 100% results, nothing short, and perfection in life. He used to get up at maybe 3:34 in the morning, wake us up. And I must tell that in my childhood, the habit of always trying to by heart things. When you chant or when you have to memorize everything, whether it was the tables or whether it was a formula in algebra or it was a theorem in geometry or what have you. He always realized that has to be constantly done repeatedly again and again. And there is a word in Sanskrit called asakrit. I think I even mentioned it before. So when you keep on repeating something, it just gets into you from the conscious level to the subconscious level. So this mathematics or the tables in my childhood was driven down my neck, every day morning from 2 to 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4 to 16, 16s are whatever. So all that had to be done every day. The shlokas have to be chanted every day. The meditations had to be done every day. And whenever my father was around, the house was very peaceful. Nobody would talk in a loud manner. Nobody would fight, nobody would exchange anything. So it was a very disciplined kind of an atmosphere. But then the corollary was in the evening, I would have done a lot of mischief during the day and my mother would have a long list of mischief that I've done and she would kind of roll it one by one. And evening was always terrorizing because he is going to then, show me the stars every day. And there are often days when I wouldn't even know for what he is beating me. I would have done so many mistakes or so many mischiefs during the day. I would don't know for what am I getting the beating. But despite that, in the night when we ate food, we all ate food together. My father would have it first. And we all sat down and ate with our own hands. During those days, you never had a spoon and fork and things like that. So it was very enjoyable. So it was a family time when all of us joined together, and we were a big family. There are 5 children, grandfather, grandmother, uncles, and cousins, and nephews, and what have you. So the evenings were very satisfying. And by the time you slept and got up in the morning, you've forgotten all that happened the earlier day, and you're back again to mischief. So that was my father. My mother was a very simple person. I cannot remember when she fired me, because she didn't just have that attitude.
Only one time she hit you when you got on from that bus after meeting Guruji, I think.
No, that is a beating out of love. It was not a beating because she wanted to really hurt you or something like that. But that was such a unmeasurable quantity of love that she thought I'm lost somewhere. And when I came back, she had to take it out. And very often she'll beat me and sit down and cry. So when mother hit me, it never hurt me. But my father hit me, gave me a tight slap. It was a very different world. So mother was that. And then as I grew up, I must say that my teachers in the school, I was in a very ordinary school, a Tamil speaking school called People's Welfare Society in Siam. And all my teachers, I didn't realize that they were illustrious at that point of time. To me, they looked like any other ordinary teacher, but each one of them, especially my mathematics teacher, Narayan sir, was great. And for me, the very sight of him as a tall gentleman, sight of him was terrorizing, because I was always a little poor in the mathematics in the earlier stage. But as I cleared the SSC, I got first in my school. But he was a personality, a towering kind of a personality. Then we had a Tamil teacher who was again very affectionate and all that. She also ensured that the grip on Tamil as a language, the choice of words, the way you deliver, the way you speak, all this I must give credit to Rajalakshmi teacher. She somehow created the interest in that language. Very often when you go to the school, you always think that things are being imposed on you. You don't realize that it is in your interest. At that age, it looked as if, why am I doing all this? Why should I learn all this? But as you grow up in life later, you realize how much it has done to your personality. So the Tamil that I speak today in programs or public stages and all that, the delivery, all this was actually groomed during that formative years. So my Tamil teacher, Rajalakshmi teacher, was one of the best that we had, and I would remember her lifelong. And as I grew up further, my role model, I must tell you, as I grew up, say 11th standard or 12th standard, I always had this Mama, Mani Mama. And Mani Mama for us was the hero man. Fantastic personality, very tall, well built, and very nice, very affable. So Mani Mama meant a lot to us, because he is the one who would kind of take you to films, take you out for
There was not much of a age difference between you two, right? Maybe 20-30 years difference. Unlike 50-60 years between,
actually, Mani Mama was my mother's cousin brother. Yeah. But for our family, all of us, all my brothers and sisters, Mani Mama was the figure who would tell you what are the modern things that are happening around life. Because the father was not, he did not have much time to spend with us because he was a busy man. So Mani Mama was the one who would tell you what are the films that are running and what kind of songs are a hit. So Binaka, Geet Mala, those kind of things. He'll take you out for an interesting film, take my sister out for a film. So Mani Mama had a very, very deep influence, and later on he passed away quite early. And later on his wife Saroja Mami and his brother Natra Mama, they are all very, very close to our family even today. I consider Mami as the senior most in the family. Whenever we have anything, we always talk to Mami to sort it out. So Mami today is the eldest member of our family. So this was the childhood prayer. And then as I went to college, of course I studied in Mulund College of Commerce, my professors there, the economics professor. But I must tell you what happened. There was a kind of a drastic change in me when I was in the, I think, intermediate college, commerce or whatever. There was a time when the college held a debate competition. And debate meant two people have to, one for the subject and one opposing the subject. So I had a friend by the name T.J. Ravishankar, who was actually from my school days itself. He was a great person. His English was outstanding. He was out of the world. His father was a journalist, so the same DNA he had. So he would write excellent speeches and all, and he wanted to participate desperately in that debate competition. He checked with all my friends, and all of my friends chickened out. They said, sorry, we cannot go on the stage and speak and all that. You catch Chotu. I was called Chotu lovingly by my friends. I said, I don't care. I was quite okay with standing on this stage. I was fearless kind of. And I told him, but I can't write a speech. So what you do is you write the speech, you give it to me, I'll memorize it. I was good at that. And then I can speak it out. He said, fine. Because that enabled him to participate in the debate. Otherwise, if you didn't have two members, they will not take your entry. So he wrote the speech, he gave it to me, he spoke, and then I spoke against. I always had this quality of dramatizing. From childhood, I was always a dreamer. I would always think, if this dog has to run from here, how does it run? If the crow could speak something, what would the crow say?
What happened the day before yesterday? You said something for your walking?
I don't know. That was real fun. My wife always pushes me out in the morning for a walk for about 1 hour. She says, at this age, it's a must in your constitution. And I was walking and my legs would pain. So my legs started complaining, I have to carry your weight. If you want to walk, why are you troubling me? So the legs started complaining to me that I can't take your weight, and this is too much. You're putting too much pressure on me. Then I said, it's not this thing. Actually, the weight is because of the stomach. It is because you are eating and you're a little overweight. So it is the stomach which has to be blamed if the excess weight is there. So the stomach said, sorry, I am not to be blamed. I have to digest whatever is fed to me through the mouth. So I am not at fault. It is the mouth which is at fault. So the responsibility or the blame fell on the mouth. So the mouth said, sorry, whatever is fed into my mouth, I have to chew it and send it onwards to the tummy for it to get digested. So don't blame me. It is the hand which is creating all this problem. By then I said, I must put this at rest. I must talk to all my limbs and say nobody is to be blamed. And I was wondering, what should I tell them? And I remembered one very famous Abhang of Sant Tukaram. Vishnu Maya Jaga Vaishnavansa Dharma Bheda Bheda Brahma Amangala. And it ends with Tuka Mane Eka Deha Che Avayava Sukha Dukha Jiva Bhoga Pave. That is, we are all but in the society. I mean, what he meant was, in the society, we are all but playing a small part, and we are all like limbs of the body. And whatever that happens to the society, whether it is dukkha or sukha, all the limbs have to jointly enjoy it. So I told all my limbs, all imagination. So I told all my limbs, don't worry, let us have peace. We are all responsible.
That your imagination is still fertile.
Oh, of course, no question. Every day I walk, believe me, I keep thinking about a lot of new things, a lot of new shlokas, the meanings, and every day I kind of meditate almost for 1 hour. So when I read Vishnu Sahasranam, every day I find a new meaning. For example, Sundarata Dhyana Ubhe Vitevari Karakatavari Tevuniya, I must have sung at least 10,000 times. But every time I sing it, I see him in a different kind of a complexion, a different kind of a aura. So he is dark. According to me, in Vitthal Murthy, there is nothing great to be appreciated, because he is not decorative like Krishna, or Rama has a dhanush and all that. Vitthal is very simple. He is just holding his two hands and he is standing there. So there is not so much of Rupa Lavanya as you would show. But to me, I can find different ways to imagine. For example, his head with a lingam, like Adi Shankara said, Parabrahma lingam bhaje Pandurangam. Then the eyes, there is a very little, small, smilish close of that eyes. Then the adhara, there is a little mandahasa. You can't actually describe it as a smile or whatever it is, but there is a little mandahasa. So like that, every limb is actually telling you a story, actually connects with the people the devotees who come there to look at him. So this dreaming carries on even today. But coming back to the original sequence, the dreaming went on, and as a dreamer, my friends would say, what are you thinking here? I would sometimes get lost. So in the college, it was the same thing. I was a dreamer. So when Ravi Shankar asked me to speak, I did that, and as luck would have it, we won. So we had to represent Mulund College to the university, because this debate was in this sequence. It was a kind of a serial. Every college had to send 2 representatives. To select the 2 representatives, the college internally had the competition. So we were selected, and then we were deputed to university. Then from university, we were sent to some other college. As God would have it, I won in that competition, which was a intercollegiate kind of a competition. Even today, I don't know why I won, what I spoke. But I think I must have spoken really well, and I got the prize. It came in the papers the next day. And for me, it was a very, very touching point. Till that time, I always considered myself to be very mediocre. I mean, happy-go-lucky types. I never realized that I could be a genius anytime. I was not, the first in the class or anything like that. People always took me for granted. And even in the house, I was always used as an errand boy to fetch things from the market, to buy the milk, to get the rust for the dog. So the life was very ordinary, very casual, but no complaints. But having said that, I realized that there is some streak in me which puts me differently from others. And that was the first time it manifested. I had to kind of pinch myself and to check whether did I really get the prize. And when they called my name to receive the prize, I was like a zombie. I just walked there and they gave me a bouquet, they gave me a medallion kind of a thing, and they said that I have won the prize. And throughout the night I couldn't sleep because I was wondering why didn't I try this before? I mean, if you had that capability, why it did not come before? Why it had to be pushed through Ravi Shankar? But Ravi Shankar played that catalyst role. And next day when it came in the papers, I was so thrilled. I took it to my father and I showed him, see, my name has come in the paper. And he just wouldn't believe. He said, no, it is somebody, some other Ganesh Kumar. It cannot be you. But when it said Ganesh Kumar of Mulund College of Commerce, then slowly he started believing, oh, really? You have done it. But my father was a man of few words. He would not praise you or anything like that. He just patted me and he said, okay, continue this. In short, what he meant was, this is not enough. I mean, there is only a starting point, and in life you have to meet many more challenges. Yeah. So that was my father. And then the music thing started in their life. And that is when our Guru Shri Mohan Pai, the Karanakarta for our wedding as well, he suddenly landed in our house. No, the need was Ramu. But the entire result was me. So because of Ramu, he came home. My father requested him whether he can teach a few Abhangs to Ramu, and he readily agreed. And Ramu always was playing harmonium, so it just fitted in the scheme of things. But then because Ramu was not able to see, he was handicapped, so I had to take Ramu wherever he went. And accidentally I got into the group, and I must say it was a sheer accident. But having done that, if I look back at it today, as the Maharashtra Abhanga Ratna, with an ability to sing about 500 Abhangs, it's a massive kind of a change. 500 Abhangs? I'm not a Maharashtrian, I'm a Tamilian. But today you have that ability, not only you sing that, you interpret it and you analyze it and you bring it out to the world. So the beauty of that each Abhang, it is all my own experience, the way that I have analyzed, the way I internalize it, the way I set the tune to that, the way I sing it, and the way I accompany the harmonium to it. All this is something very, very unique. I must confess that I have not made an honest attempt to do this. But today it has happened, and world acknowledges, and wherever I go, people respect me to that extent. So this title Maharashtra Abhanga Ratna, which I received in Pandharpur, the starting point for all this is the association with my Guru Mohan Pai. Without him, then nothing of this sort was possible. So today, as you analyze, 30, 40 years down the line, you realize how much change they have made in you. And when it was happening, you never realized, you never took it seriously. You never took it, as a serious, I mean, I was working, I was a big executive and all that. So there was no question of, an executive getting into Marathi Abhang, something very traditional. So it was a kind of a mismatch, like both of us. We don't know why we are a match to each other, but sometimes you feel that it's a mismatch. So it happened. So things in life, though they seem very incompatible at a certain point of time, suddenly something happens and they become very compatible. And then you realize that compatibility brings out a new height of beauty. So that essence of life, that is why life, you must always live as it comes. Don't have problems. If they have problems, I mean, maybe it will vanish the next moment. Something else will happen. So take life as it comes. And you will never find me sad, or you will never find me complaining or anything like that. In my entire life, I don't remember that I've ever feel. I might feel a little sadness because something has happened, but it does not engulf me. I come out of it quickly. So that attitude, I must pray that next time, in the next birth also, I must get Mohan Pai for my training or whatever. By that time, I was actually also singing Tamil songs because of Ramu, like on Murugan, on Devi, or Vinayakar. But this Marathi Abhang put me on a completely different perspective. So Mohan Pai was a turning point in my life. While that happened on the musical side, on the professional side, I finished my graduation. I joined a company called HTC Diesel Engines, where there was one Kailasanathan, who was brilliant. I would call him a genius, but was also eccentric. So we spent a lot of time together. Through him, I could learn a lot of things as far as at a junior executive level.
You used to have lunch together and discuss all this, right?
Every day we had lunch together, because by that time I had lost my parents. So there was nobody to fend for me. I was left all alone. I never thought it was a problem. So I would always eat outside. So every day during the lunch time, both of us would go and we will visit. The office was in Honeyman Circle, in the Nagindas Master Bro. And we must have visited almost all the restaurants around. Must be about 50-60 restaurants around, and would have eaten in all those places. Every day we keep on shifting. So that was Kailasanathan. And then as I grew a little more, I did a course on export.
Kailash Nathan was the one you also got you the another job and then the next job, right?
Kailasanathan was instrumental in my shifting from HTC Diesel Engines to Campicola. Because Kailasanathan was close to a company called Nardan, who were into flavors and fragrances. And they were also dealing with Campicola. So that's how I shifted to Campicola, Delhi, the marriage and all. That's right. So I did that export course. But before that, for a considerable time, maybe about 5 years, I was with the Sarabhai group. That Sarabhai group was through another element of my family. I had an uncle called Nagaswamy, Patu Mama we call him. And he was, a highly successful entrepreneur, highly successful businessman. He was the founder of the Bakuba Ambalal, which holds the entire Ambalal Sarabhai group. And he was a big man. I mean, when Patu Mama used to come home, we will all sit down and he will sit on the chair like a king. So he was Patu Mama. Patu Mama he was not very tall, but he hailed from the same village where my father came, and they were actually cousins. So Patu Mama's visit meant that, he'll come by a plane and he'll wear some very expensive watches, and he will wear some goggles which were out of the world. And Patu Mama's mommy, Lakshmi Mami, was also very pretty, and she would wear some, excellent silk sarees. So they were a kind of you can't go and touch them. You can only see them from a distance. So that was the kind of aura that they had. So when Patu Mama was coming, all of us, had a lot of expectations. Today what he is going to wear. And, he had that cigar, and he would have that, pipe sometimes in his mouth. So for us, it was a very British looking kind of a person, very different from us. And he would speak English in a very flowery way and all that. And he was a very senior person. So my father also was respecting him. And he once asked me, "What are you doing?" So I blabbered that I was working for a small company called HTC Diesel Engines. I realized that Patu Mama had a grand plan for everything. You must rub with such people who see you in a different perspective. You think that you are somebody, but when they analyze you, they have a completely different opinion about you, and they have some plans for you. And this is what happened with Patu Mama. So Patu Mama asked me, so what have you studied? So I told him I finished my commerce, I did law, then I have done export management. Then he said, why don't you join Sarabhai group? I said, Sarabhai group is a big group, why will they take me? I mean, even to reach at a level of making an application, getting an interview call itself would have been a big challenge. He said, no, you make an application and give that application reference to me. So it was a post for export executive. And I never dreamt that I was capable to attempt at that level. But he asked me to apply, and I applied, and luck would have it, I got selected. And when I was selected, it was a kind of a management trainee cadre. So in that management trainee cadre in Sarabhai group, they put you on an induction program. So they send you to all the group companies, they send you to all the departments to have a fair idea of how the company works. And for me, it was an eye-opener. Here I was an ordinary, slightly above clerical level guy doing statistics and doing export documentation and all that. And here I am being treated as a management trainee who is supposed to be taking large responsibilities in a company, and everybody treating you with respect. We were served lunch on an elaborate table, and you had people standing behind you, and you went by car and somebody received you. So this was a completely new world for me. But then I realized that I had the ability, but it was untested. So when that got tested, and when you come out with flying colors, then you realize the same experience that I had when I won in the debate. So that was on an individual level. Here as a corporate guy, so when the factory was in Amarnath, so when I traveled from Ballad Estate, the office, to the Amarnath, the company provided a car with a chauffeur, and then when you enter the factory gate is open because you are coming, and then as you are getting down from the car, the production director is waiting for you to come. So all this, was a different world for me. I have never received that kind of a appreciation or treatment.
What? Hardly 23, 22.
Thereabouts. Must be about. I had just finished college and then went on to HDC, and after about 2 years of HDC, I joined Sarabais.
So that must be 22.
So this management trainee and then an export executive, and then I realized that I was the youngest executive in the entire group. So that kind of increased my, I would even say to the extent of becoming a little arrogant, because I thought I could easily achieve things. I can do this, I can do that. But then because I had this slight inferiority complex, that I hailed from a very ordinary family, I hailed from a very middle class family. So that kind of controlled me.
And all those other executives or trainees who were with you, were of the same age, or there was a huge age difference or something?
Not much of a difference, because they were all coming from IIMs, Ahmedabad and so many other management institutes. So maybe 2 years senior to you. But when it came to as a management trainee, after you visit something, you would be expected to sit on a table on the boardroom. You would discuss what happened as a trainee, as a management, how are you looking at it? And I realized that I'm able to analyze a situation in a completely different perspective. And I was reasonably good in communication that day, and I spoke reasonably good English, almost to the level of those management graduates who have done management school and all that. So I could give something new, a new perspective, a new solution to a problem. So that kind of endeared to the senior people who are kind of watching you. Sometimes you don't know that they are all watching you. Sometimes it gets recorded and somebody else is listening to it in the cabin. I will only refer to one incident in my life when I realized that yes, I'm there, I have arrived and I can solve problems. There was a day when suddenly I received a message that my super boss, there was one chief executive called Mr. C.S. Shah, very senior person to me, maybe at least about 10 levels above me in the hierarchy. He's calling you. So I was actually very happy, because I used to analyze every year there was an export policy which was being announced. And I will, as a matter of practice, analyze that export policy in the same night and make notes as to how is it relevant to the company policy and all that, and send that notes to everybody. In fact, my immediate senior asked me, why are you wasting all your time? Nobody reads all this. So I said, no, I want to make it for myself. And since I made it, I might as well market to people, to the production director, to the export director, to the CEO or the CFO or whatever. I think it got noticed at some point of time. So I thought that because of that note, the CEO has called me. So I went with a little gate in my, when Namdev managed to get Vittal outside his pedestal and have breakfast with him. And when he came back to the house, he came with that, gate, with that. So I went like that to CEO, only to realize that he has called me to fire left, right and center. It seems that about 800 truckloads of material had come from the factory, and the carting order was not taken in the shed, because the shed was already overcrowded. So the carting order was not taken, and all these trucks were standing outside the port. You can imagine 800 trucks on the road, and it created a huge traffic mess in the entire Dimelo road. Police came, they went to the CEO, you are exporting, you are blocking the traffic. And somehow, for some reason, the CEO thought that I was responsible for it, whereas I had nothing to do with it. It was actually the import department which had told the factory to send the material, because they had to clear the factory. So somebody in the system did not plan well, and without telling the export department, took the decision to put the material in the truck and send it to the docks. Normally what would happen is, whenever there is a carting order, we tell the production to send the material and then it would arrive in the port. Here it was that we were completely in the dark and some date had to be met. In the licensing had a date that within this date you have to clear it from the production. So something like that. So somebody took a decision, except that that decision was too large a decision. 800 trucks is too big a quantity. So the Bombay Port Trust said, sorry, there is no place to download your cargo and you can't enter. So this was not expected. Normally if the truck comes, we manage and we take it inside. So the CEO fired me left, right and center. I had tears in my eyes. First of all, I didn't even know. It was like my getting beaten up by my father. I don't know what mistake I had done. So it was something similar to that, and he was, it was a huge cabin and all that. And he just kept on and on and on and on. So even before I could justify that, sir, it is not my fault, he would say, I just don't care whose fault it is. And at least his level it is right. After all, he has to solve the problem. So he said, go and settle it. So as I came out, I was literally crying. His PA was one Madhavan, who was a South Indian guy. He was very nice to me. He got up from his seat, came to me and kind of hugged me and he said, Ganesh, don't worry. He is very angry today, he doesn't know. And he has fired you. But try and find a solution, things will fall in line. For me, it was like God telling me, don't worry, something like that. Came back to my seat and, I was literally shivering. I didn't know what to do. I said, Aaj kaam chala gaya. I'm going to lose my job. But I've always realized that God is a little extra kind to me. He drops some idea, some unique idea, some, you would have never thought of it, but it drops into my mind. And it happens. So I said, why don't you go to the Port Trust chairman? So there was one Mr. Kulkarni, who was the general manager of Port Trust, and check whether there are other warehouses where it can be temporarily stored. I knew that there were several warehouses in Bombay Port Trust. If not the relevant dock, somewhere else it can be temporarily stored and then we can recart it. Nobody has ever done this in the past. So I went to him and I was young and I explained, first of all, getting an entry into his cabin itself. The cabin was like a cricket, such a huge cabin in Bombay Port Trust in that Bala district. And I went inside and, very sheepishly I speak to him. He was a big man. So he said, what is it that you're suggesting? So I told him it's creating a problem and police have come. So he said, what is it that you're suggesting? So I told him, sir, you have other warehouses, depots, so can we temporarily store it? There is no such procedure. I said, that's why I have come to you. Because only at your level you can create a procedure. He said, no, but I need the whole thing in writing. I said, here, sir, I have already brought it. That changed the whole thing. He never thought that I would put all these problems so logically on a letter and present it to him just when he was wanting it. Because to write a 4-page letter, you needed ability, you need that clarity and all that. And when he went through the letter, he was very thrilled. He said, excellently you have written. I will sanction it, but you have to put some court stamp on the letter because it's an official document. So I got it stamped, came back to him. And in the next 2 hours, he ordered that about 5-6 godowns will be opened. Then he told me that there is no proper ceiling and all that. Then I told, don't worry, sir, I will repair everything at my cost. And I told Devendra Bhai of Leela Pasu to cover that space and all that, put watchmen so that it can be. So imagine 800 trucks, the problem getting resolved within 3 hours. And the whole thing was resolved. And at about 5:30, we realized, okay, now everything is all right. So morning, 6 o'clock, the problem starts. And by evening 6 o'clock, it got resolved through somebody, an ordinary junior executive in export department who has solved this problem. So my CEO was thrilled. So next day morning, he called me again. CEO sits here, there's a huge table and then there are chairs and that's where you So he said, come here. So he made me stand next to him and he kind of held me like this. He said, I fired you yesterday. I said, sir, it's okay. I've done it. No. But I did not know that you have not done it. I thought it was you. But later on, I was told that it was not your mistake. But anyway, you have done a good job because you thought of an idea out of the box. And that appreciation he gave me. So I must credit CS Shah for giving that sense of confidence that yes, at a highest level you can find a solution and resolve it. So that was Asia. And then the world became, I went to Delhi, then we got married, and there was another kind of challenge. So, Campacola, but nothing, no, there was not much. No, that was just a small thing. I mean, Trip, yeah. Trip was a product, a lemon drink. Campacola had beverages, different kinds of beverages, and they were launching something called Trip, which is a lemon product, something similar to Limca. Yeah. This is in 1984. So you can imagine what was the world then. So there was a crew which was sent on a helicopter to Maldives. 5, 6 beautiful women. They travel in that helicopter. They get down and they enjoy this. That was the ad, which was made by, I think, I don't remember the name of the agency, but it was out of the world. Beautiful, very well done. So this was shown to the management, including our chairman, Charanjit Singh. So I was also invited to see it. So the film was shown. It is just a 3-minute advertisement film. At the end of the show, I just blurted out, "Okay, where is the product?" I think it was a little childish of me. Big agency, they have big people. Well, they're all professionals. And this question was very shocking. And immediately the chairman picked it up. And Charanjit Singh was on the dot. He said, "Where is the product? You're showing a great story, but where is the Trip brand?" And the whole film was scrapped. It must have cost them at least 2-3 crores at that point of time. And they just scrapped it. Of course, they then reworked it, and 3-4 times they'll just show the product, the bottle and all that in between and all that. But then I realized that I have a tendency to look at the faults. This still helps me in life. Yes. When you break a document, I would exactly point out what is the mistake there.
Ask me.
Yeah. No, ask Gracie. So this unique attitude of always looking for perfection, always looking for the small error, is again a very unique quality. And all the small things make what you are today.
And that was the company where you introduced Tetra Pak to India, in fact, for the first time.
That's right. So Tetra Pak was a unique concept then. It was a kind of a paper made thing to hold that, and it was only used for milk in Switzerland. So I realized that it can be done in India, and we even did a pilot project. So it was a turning point. You introduced a new technology for your product. So that was Campacola.
The Campacola was not introduced in Tetra Pak. I think mango drink was introduced.
Yeah. So Campacola is the name of the company, Campa Beverages. And when they wanted to launch a mango drink, a mango juice, it was the first time, because mango juice, the problem then was only bottled could be stored in a refrigerator. So you didn't have a packaging product which can take a juice, which is a liquid, and maintain the temperature. So this Tetra Pak had that unique ability. So that was a turning point.
You traveled for this, right?
No, traveling was always there. Yeah. The traveling was a part of life. I used to travel extensively, but that we will cover it in a different mode. So Campacola, then you come back to Bombay. By that time, you are a working executive. You have proved yourself. You are a senior guy.
You became an export manager, right?
Yeah, Campacola was export manager. Then again, Raunak International also was export manager. Then we got shifted back to Bombay. So that by that time, I had kind of made myself a respectable professional, where people will take you with responsibility. You can participate in meetings. You can participate in discussions. You can participate in corporate matters. So that had happened by that time. And you had already faced the challenge of marriage. So you have become a kind of a complete man, to put it in Raymond's language. So all that was done. But the aspect of somebody touching your life continued. And then the next challenge was, I would say, entering finance society.
No, before that, you quit Raunak.
Yeah, all that is story.
Before that, right? You had quit Raunak then.
Yeah. No, I think I entered finance society when I was still with Raunak. It was in 86 when we were in Shell Colony.
87 starting.
So during that time, I also run with a person called Devendra Bhai, who was heading the Leladhar Pasu. And he was almost of my age, maybe 2 years elder to me. But Leeladhar Pasu was a big clearing and forwarding company and had lot of contracts. They were my clearing agents. In fact, I used to keep Devendra outside waiting for discussion with me. He was a clearing agent, so he had to wait. I'm the boss, so he had to wait for me. But that friendship grew a little more. Then when I quit, I was on the verge of quitting a corporate job and doing something on my own. That's when Devendra Bhai offered me that why don't you become a consultant with us? And to me, it meant a lot because I could see the outside world. Large contracts, a different kind of a ball game. So Leeladhar Pasu was already there and I got them a lot of contracts on ODC, the over-dimensional cargo, project cargo. So all these assignments required a lot of paperwork and required a lot of intelligent discussion before you book the order. So that's the role that I played. So while they had the complete establishment, a firm grip on the job aspect, but that negotiation aspect, they were a little weak. So that's where I stepped in with my English, with my overall knowledge and all that. And I could project Leeladhar Pasu as a big company wanting to do the job. So we did a lot of projects like that to Kandla, to Larsen and Toubro, and to IPCL. So all big contracts. And I think I mentioned somewhere that my first car was out of that. So Devendra Bhai played that role. He gave me that opportunity to do something on your own on a completely different aspect. Though it was connected to international trade, but it was not exports. It was more like planning intelligent things. That is when, for IPCL, I planned, instead of loading them on trucks, I hired the trucks for a month's period, and that itself saved about 5-6 lakh at that point of time. So Devendra Bhai is another person who touched my life. And after that, it was Anil Shah. No question about it. Anil Shah for me is a kind of a mentor. He believed in my abilities more than myself.
True.
And just when I was to join Tata Exports, he said, no, you will not join Tata Exports. You will be with me and I will teach you how business is to be run. And I am always indebted to Anil Shah for creating this Ratna Commercials Private Limited, which initially was a very large agrochemical exporter even today. And then from there we branched off to Inside television channel. So all this ability to take a challenge and have a confidence is thanks to Anil Shah. Till that time I could take a challenge, but I never had that confidence of stepping out. So Anil Shah taught me. So Anil Shah is another person who touched me. And that was the time I shifted. Having achieved reasonable success in corporate life, I moved on to culture. So sometime I think in 86 or thereabouts, when Atimbir had come home, we went for a concert at a place called Fine Arts Society, which was just a structure. There was nothing about it. It was a big structure, a big auditorium, but no action. It was all just dark and we don't know what was happening there. So I still remember Tiruvira Jai Shankar Nadaswaram and Balayapati Taval was the first show that we attended. And as I came out, there was one Sri Sitaram, who was the MD of the Bain Baker, the multinational company. He was sitting there on the table and he asked, gentlemen, why don't you become a member? So I asked him, how much is the subscription? He said, some 90 rupees per year. I said, that's a very small amount. So I gave that amount and I became a member. And then after a few days, we received a notice in the house that they are holding the AGM. And as a member, whether I can attend it. So I went and, that was the time when I had this streak of arrogance. Arrogance in the sense, a confidence level where you have proved so many things and you can do anything kind of. Yeah. So in the meeting, I realized that they were all, the normal Tambram types who in the AGM were complaining more about the lack of salt in vada than actual action. And I saw this K.S. Neelakandan, a big man, again, who was the Asia Pacific director of Pfizer. And so, they were all big in the society. But in my perspective, I thought they were not discussing the right things. So in that own youthful arrogance, I made a few points that this is how it should be done, that's how it should be done. So as the meeting ended, I was coming out and one Sri C.V. Radhakrishnan, who was the executive director of Textile Manufacturers Association, caught me and he said, young man, come here.
It was also called CVR, right?
CVR. So C.V. Radhakrishnan, he was from Chelakara, Vadakanjeri, something like that. So it was C.V. Radhakrishnan. But he was a big man, very intelligent and all that. So he called me, young man, come here. What did you say? I said, sir, it should be done. It should be done. 1 minute. Advising somebody is very easy. Can you do it? I said, if you give me an opportunity, I'll do it. So he said, can you put your ideas on a piece of paper and send it to me? He thought I will chicken off, but I was made of a different kind of material. So I went back, made a small report as to what can Finance Society do, and sent it to him the next day, and he was thrilled. Then the matter was forgotten. 1 year, 1.5 years. Then suddenly one day I got a call from CVR, and he said, I'm planning to make you the secretary of the Finance Society. First of all, I didn't know what that meant, what responsibilities are there. And I said, yes, I'm agreeing. So immediately he called me there, and he called me for a meeting, and all big shots, Mr. Ramadurai, Mr. K.S. Neelagan, Balakrishnan. They were all, people belonging to the highest level.
And at highest management level.
Yeah, they were all managing directors. Jairam Ramnath, he was the ED of Telco. So they are all sitting there, and he makes me sit next to him, and he announces to the crowd that Ganesh Kumar will be the new secretary. So everyone is looking at me, ki bhai, how I will fit into that scheme of things. So everybody is made to speak. So the problem that was being discussed that day was, how do we open the auditorium, and where is the money for the air conditioning? They had all run out of their funds. By that time, finance did not have any money, and so this is the problem that was. So deliberately, CVR by design wanted me to speak the last, because he was a little careful that I'll blurt out something and it will create a mess, and he'll lose his image. So he didn't want to take that risk. So he made everyone else speak, and everyone made some points or whatever, but nothing was intelligent enough, or I would say nothing was a point which can find a solution to the problem. Finally, it was my turn. I gave a solution. I said, why don't we lease it? Now, nobody had thought of that lease option.
So that was a new phase in the market that time.
It was a new concept. Leasing was a new concept in the market, and as a traditional trust, they had never thought of it. And there was...
We were talking of air conditioning.
Yeah, the entire air conditioning plant, which would have cost about 40-50 lakhs at that point of time. So there was one C.R. Balakrishnan, who was a finance expert in that group. He was the financial director of Excel Glass. So he was at least 35 years elder to me. And he said, what is this nonsense? Such things will not work here. But in my own style, that very day morning, I had checked with some company whether it is possible, and they had said it is possible. So immediately I retaliated. I said, nothing doing, I could be younger to you, but what I am saying makes sense, it is possible. So everybody had a shock of life. Ki bhai, young man, 30 years, maybe the next generation, he is trying to tell us what is possible, what is not possible, and they all started pouncing on me. And it happens in any big circle that you are young and people who don't trust that you can. And just then CVR stopped all of them, and CVR was on my side, because he has already seen my streak of being different. So he said, fine, don't argue, let him say what he wants to say. And I said how the solution can be worked out. So he told C.R. Balakrishnan that tomorrow you go with him to that agency and see whether it works. Now C.R. Balakrishnan knew 100% that it will not work, but I had done my homework. So next day I took him, and that solution worked. And that's how Finance Society got its air conditioning plant.
And also that was only for the auditorium.
That was only for the auditorium.
Not for the entire...
No, not at all. But the entire eyes popped up, because one young man who's just walked into the team is able to look at things in a different perspective. And he meant business. It's not that he was wasting his time. And then of course they came to know that I was a senior executive in Sarabhai Group and have a lot of experience. But the South Indian psyche did not want to accept that a youngster can come and pose a challenge to me. At that age. That's right. But then they had to grudgingly accept that I found a solution. And then one thing led to the other. And slowly I started becoming important in this scheme of things. Then there was another test. When this was happening, we had borrowed from Indian Bank. There was one Gopalakrishnan, who was the chairman of Indian Bank, who was very philanthropical in mind. He had helped a lot of institutions with various things. So he had also given money to Finance Society, and Finance Society was unable to repay. So Finance Society was almost becoming a non-performing asset. The amount was something like 80-85 lakhs. So I told my trustees, by that time they were called the board of trustees, and I was the secretary to the managing committee. So I was not of the same status. But sometimes we had joint meetings, and I told them that it will become a black mark in the history of finance society if we don't repay that amount. So CVR said, what is your solution? And I knew that we had some surplus here and there, parked here and there. And I said, we must pay back this money. So then they did an analysis and realized that yes, the money can be paid back. So we invited Mr. Raghavan, who was the chairman of Indian Bank then, and invited him for lunch and gave him the check for 85 lakh rupees. That was the second turning point in the finance society. We liquidated the debt, we cleared the outstanding loan. Of course, not that we still had to borrow, and we still was hand to mouth kind of an existence. But we found a solution and kept our head held high.
Let's go back to CVR. What other things did you do?
No, CVR gave me a tremendous sense of clarity. In life, one thing that was missing in me was a sense of clarity. Ability was there, confidence was there, but how to look at a thing and find a solution, that I learned from CVR. I still remember once night around 2 o'clock, we had to finalize the annual report, and which had to be printed the next day morning, and somehow it was not ready. So he sent me to the printing press, and we sat there, and those days you didn't have this computer and all that, so everything had to be typeset, and matter had to be done. Manually done. So that was all done. By about 2 o'clock I came back with the matter, and he found 10 mistakes in that.
Go back.
And he said, go back to the printing press at Dharavi. I said, are you joking? I am just doing an honorary job here. I am not working for you. That day he fired me at night 3 o'clock. He said, if you are the secretary, you must discharge your responsibilities. If you cannot do it, resign tomorrow morning and walk out from here. If you are a secretary and if the report has to come out tomorrow morning, it is your responsibility to get it done. And at night 3 o'clock, I tell all kinds of things to him, but dutifully go back there, get it corrected. Next day morning, we published it. And then he called me and he gave me his lesson of life. When you take the responsibility, don't chicken out in between and run away from somewhere.
Just because it is honorary.
No, that has no relevance here. Whether it is honorary or you're getting paid for it or whatever, you have taken a responsibility. Once you have taken a responsibility, it is all the more important in a society. Being honorary and yet discharging your responsibility is a double-edged sword. And when you come out of it, you will be happy, you will be proud. So it has nothing to do with money. In life, don't do things for money. In life, you must do things because you want to prove that you have that capability.
Morally right.
Absolutely. So that was CVR. He gave me a life's lesson in terms of what is right, what is wrong.
He also had valor, if I mistake not, because he cleared that space.
He was, what shall I say, with us. He just didn't care. If there are 1,000 people standing in front and going to hit him, he will go there, stand alone and handle them. So that is another angle that I saw. Till that time, I never faced crowd. Just in the finance society, I realized once we had to build a compound wall. And there was a big furore outside. The police had to come, there was a big tamasha going on, and they would not allow it to happen. So it was only CVR and me who stood there, faced all the brunt of the hutments around, and yet put the compound wall there. A turning points in my life, because he never feared anybody. And even if it is the police, he will talk to them in a manner that he is superior to them. So that sense of, because he is right. So when you are right, you get a special sense of confidence that you have not done anything wrong. Why should you fear the police? Why should you fear anybody? It is our place. It is our property. It is our asset. So how can anybody stop me from doing it? Normally what happens is you start fearing, no, I will get hit. Somebody will hit me. Somebody will manhandle me. Somebody might trouble me later on. So that fear was there. And we are, after all, Madarasis. We always live in fear. We never, have faith in ourselves outside on the road. And I have narrated my getting beaten up outside the college and all that. So that was already, at your back of your mind. But CVR taught me, fear what? Get it done. That's it. That's the end of the story. So that sense of, forthrightness.
Standing again and somebody is putting pressure on you.
Absolutely. So that was CVR. So I think all these people, one after the other, have made me what I am today. And I still pay my respects to all of them.
After
And
CVR, who was there?
no, then K.S. Neelakandan is another one who taught me the way to print a notice, the way to prepare a material, the publicity, the PRO. So yes, K.S. Neelakandan also played a very pivotal role. That is why today I am able to hold events and things like that.
He also went on micro levels for organizing an event.
He was outstanding. He was an expert in what he did. So that level of planning, level of preempting things which can go wrong was K.S. Neelakandan. So all this bundled together is what makes me what. So I don't think it is my self-creation. It is all these people who have helped me one way or the other, right from my affection, compassion, to a professional person who can take challenges in life. So that continues, and even today I keep meeting a lot of people. Pandit Arvind Parekh, I must say, was another turning point in my life. Pandit Arvind Parekh was a great corporate. He was the chairman of the DHL group, and yet a leading musician. He was the senior most Ustad Vilayat Khan student, and a big corporate person. In fact, in my Leeladhar Pasu days, I used to attend big international seminars where Arvind Bhai will address a big audience, and what an English and what a delivery, what a personality. He would make you feel very, very, when I used to look at him with awe, that kind of a silver tongue, what a delivery, what a preparation, what a level of intelligence, what an intellectual level. That was Arvind Bhai. So in subsequent times, I became a part of Arvind Bhai's life. In fact, Music Forum was an institution where he trained me out of scratch. He was the chairman. He was gracious enough to make me the chairman after him. And I learned a lot in terms of handling the artists, handling music related things, handling seminars, handling workshops on music, how to plan a 3-day seminar, what kind of subjects, how do you prepare, compartmentalize them into individual portions, how to invite big people, how to treat big people when they come. So that training I got from Pandit Arvind Parekh, and he is still today for me a role model. He is still my mentor. Whenever I have problems, I go to him.
He is also a business person, right?
He was the chairman of DHL Group.
Yeah.
He was the boss of Lee and Muirhead. He is 97 years old now. But still, we enjoy the session whenever we meet each other. We enjoy the session, and I have a lot to learn from him even today. Even today, there is so much to know from him. So all these people together have made my life.
So apart from these business people, you also had another side, which is music. And in music, you were in the childhood influenced by Guruji, by his programs and all.
I will not call it music. I will call it spirituality.
Okay.
In life, according to me, you must have a spiritual side, because that is what gives you that sense of avalambanam, a sense of belonging, a sense of faith, a sense of belief, a sense of trust. There is an overpowering authority somewhere. Ata Vishwatmake Deve, Trene Vakayagye Toshave, Toshoni Mazadave Pasayajame. So you realize that there is some upper power which actually pulls all the strings, all that it happens. And my interaction with Guruji was when I was a small kid. I have already narrated that story. But Guruji inducted me into that spirituality. And Mohan Pai through his Abhangs was pouring the ghee. So this created a new vehicle for me. And when I went to Jnanananda Swamigal at Tapovanam, a great Swamiji, and the aura was unbelievable. And I was a small child. And he would have sometimes take me to buy provisions in Tirukovilur and all that. So there is so much, the life's truth, the life's higher things I learned, or I got inducted into them, so to say, by these great personalities. And Guruji's singing was mesmerizing. How it is singing, 5,000 people start crying when he narrates the stories, when he sings Nindati Chandanam Indu Kiranam Iva, the Ashtapadi and all that, and we narrate the story of Radha and Krishna. So that ability to tie people down with that outpouring of bhakti, that outpouring of music, was Guruji. Sometimes, you are completely, for 2 hours, you are mesmerized. You don't know what you're doing. You're just listening. You have tears in your eyes. You don't know that you're crying.
Yes.
You don't know you are laughing, because he would come out with, strange jokes.
Yeah.
So that was Guruji, an absolutely magnificent personality. I've written a detailed article about him, which is published in a book. And for me, Guruji was everything in my life. He steered through my life without being known.
Yeah.
Today I realize that he has steered through my life. So his singing was outstanding. So was Murugadas, Pittukuli Murugadas. Pittukuli Murugadas had a voice which was magical, and that voice would literally mesmerize you. I used to think in my life, I wish I can sing like this. And later on, as a situation happened when he told me that he wishes that he can sing like me. What a
That is when he gave you that.
no, but imagine a person whom you think is a role model comes back to you and says, "No, I want to be like you." I felt it's not a matter of satisfaction; it's a matter of elation. That means I have also done something, have something. So he gave me his harmonium, which was a part of his life. So that was Pittukuli Murugadas. So Guruji, Jnanananda Swamigal, Pittukuli Murugadas, and then my shifting to Delhi, where I had my friend Venkatramani, who was a big man in the Tata Group. He was the kind of a walking encyclopedia on the banking software. So those days, computer was just being introduced. He was an expert in banking software, and we have discussed a lot with each other. And he still continues interacting with me regularly. And so Venkatramani was another name.
You also started a company together, Vegans or something.
Yeah, so all these things happen. But what I'm trying to say is, there are some people who come in your life, make some changes, but continue to be in your life. Some people go out. For example, Gopal Ratnam of Ahmedabad, he came into my life very accidentally. He had heard my program somewhere in Chennai, and suddenly one day he walks into my office, and then we are thick friends today. He organizes many programs for me all over in South, and he still treats me as his elder brother. And there are times when I will tell him, don't do this and do that, and he will shower all comforts on me, and I always tell him, don't do this, don't pamper me. And he'll book plane tickets for me, he'll book me in a big hotel and all that. So that is Gopal. So Gopal Ratnam has also played a pivotal role in the recent times in terms of programs and all that. Then I must say Gracie, who has been my secretary for the last almost from 35 years, and she was a young, whatever, she was a young girl just out of school or college or something like that, and she joined us, and from that day till
She
today
actually joined as a steno when you were with Anil Shah.
at Worli office, and then the whole thing, she still continues today, and she is one person I can completely trust. But the best person in my life with whom I have interacted, who continues to be an integral part of my life, is Latika. Not because you are my wife, but because we have grown up together, our childhood was spent together, we have the same, I should say, same kind of values in life, and we are an excellent match and an excellent mismatch. And we would fight, we will argue, but at the end of the day, we are always together. And you have given me the kind of, a support similar to a backbone. And I have been able to achieve all this only because that association is there. I knew that when I go home after facing a lot of challenges, I'll get my food, I will get my love, I'll get my affection. So that is Latika.
Namaji, who interacted with you, also came home. He stayed with us.
Namaji was the one who took charge from Tenangor, where Guruji left. So when Guruji left, Namaji stepped into his shoes, and Namaji was very dear to us. In fact, Jai Krishna Dikshitar, the great grandson of Anantarama Dikshitar, was very close to our family. He is the one who took us to Vadagudi, and that's where we did the Poonal ceremony from our son. His son also, together we did the Poonal ceremony. So Jai Krishna Dikshitar also was instrumental in my getting deeper into the spiritual world. Then we invited Namaji to do a 6-month program in Bombay when we did the Nama Sankirtana Mela in 1996. And so Namaji played a crucial part. He was not like Guruji. Guruji was there, Swamiji was there, but Namaji was here with us. So that kind of a family interaction we had. Of course, he is also no more now. I still remember the day when it was Namaji's 80th birthday in Tenangor, and he was showered with golden 108 coins which some Malaysian devotees had brought. And after all that was done, he was a little lost. Why all this is being? He was a very simple person. So he went and sat on a chair, and I sat next to him, and without realizing, I pulled his leg and I started pressing, as I did for Guruji. And
You always wanted.
always he demanded, not wanted, he demanded.
First you did.
No, he will sit there and he will say, come here, press my leg. Whereas this happened with both of us not realizing. I just sat there and I pulled his leg, and it took 10 minutes for him to realize that I am pressing his leg. And when he realized that I'm pressing, he just, with this thing, he removed his. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing my seva." So what is it? And then we had a smile at each other, and that proved that there is some association in the past, and that kind of manifested that day. So we were dear, we were close to each other. He would tell me a lot of things, and I also remember another day when, on the Aradhana day, when we perform in the main Sannadhi, where the Guruji Brindavanam is there. He is the final one who will do all that, Guru 16 Purohits, he will do all that, and then he will come and sing for about 1.5 hours. So that particular Aradhana, he was outstanding. He really sang extremely well, and I was there in the audience, and just sitting opposite him. And as it ended, somebody had put a huge garland on his neck. He removed that and put it on my neck, and I felt so thrilled. Unfortunately, there was no mobile there. We could not take a photograph, but I felt very close to him. It was a very integral part of my life. So like this,
That is how you met Maya, or Maya Krishnan of Malaysia?
Yeah, Maya Krishnan happened because of Damaji.
Yeah.
Because of that association, and today, even till today, we perform in Malaysia. We keep going around. So Maya Krishnan, all his, his wife, his children, Vidya, everybody from Malaysia. We just did a 10-day trip of Malaysia.
How did you become close to him? Was it when you went to Penang for
No. Maya.
those cassettes or something for Guruji's?
No. That is separate. That is not Maya. It is somebody else. Where I went to Penang, paid some money, and picked up the cassettes. Later on, when Maya has seen me several times performing in Penangor, in Taporam also, and once it so happened that I was coming through Malaysia back. I had gone to Taiwan. From Taiwan, I had finished all my business trips, and I was coming through Malaysia. So I just gave him a call that I'm passing through Malaysia. So he insisted, no, you cannot pass. You must come home. So I broke the journey, and that's when they came to receive me at the airport. And then, then we went. And then from that time onwards, now we are very close to each other. So like this, there are several men. Some of them very illustrious, some of them very ordinary. But yes, they all continue to influence me even today. I must say that in the music field, Umayyapuram Shivaraman sir played Mridangam. I have narrated this story separately, how he came to Pandharpur and all that. He also has given me a lot of ideas. He actually launched me in Chennai, so to say. So he would go out of the way to get programs for me, so put in a word and things like that. I still maintain very intense connect with him. And so with so many musicians, whether it is Aruna Sairam, whether it is Sudha Raghunathan, whether it is Vijay Shivaji, whether it is Mandolin Rajesh, Lalgudi family, I maintain connect with all of them, because today we are running a television channel. So all these people become very important. And yes, one thing or the other, you keep learning from people.